All right. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. I'm going to share my screen and show the little introduction slide that we have and ask everybody to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Michaela and work our way over.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Michaela Fennell. I'm a senior nursing major at Westchester. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the current co-VP of the Black Student Union.
Okay, there we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Adelaide. I am a pharmaceutical product development major. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am the president of the African Student Association at Westchester.
Hi, my name is Brianne. I am a pre-occupational therapist major. I go by she, her, hers, and I am the vice president of Saga.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zaire Cuspid. My major is psychology. I go by he, him, his pronouns, and I'm the president of Saga currently.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brielle Ridgway, and I'm the president of the Association for Women's Empowerment, and I use she, her pronouns.
Yay, thank you all so much. So we have a couple guests with us as well. So if you have any questions throughout the panel, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll have you ask and everything. But we also have some prepared for everybody. So Jordan is gonna kick us off with our first question. And you can decide the order, Jordan, however you wanna do that.
It's a surprise to everyone. So hi, first I'm gonna introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm a GA with Residence Life and Housing, and I am a current master's candidate for higher education policy and student affairs. So this is for everyone on the panel. So we're just gonna go, Adelaide's gonna start. How would you define allyship?
So I would define allyship as a concept where you have different individuals from different walks of life standing by groups of people who are basically marginalized in the community. There's institutional oppression and prejudice towards them. So that's how I would define it. It's basically standing by them and supporting them and being able to say what is right and what is wrong and to be able to help support them.
Thank you. We're gonna do Brielle next.
I would define allyship as being in support with, but not taking over the space or the platform of the group that is needing your support in the moment.
Brianne.
I wrote it down on my phone. Okay. I would define allyship as being a supportive person towards oppressed persons, as well as an advocate for their rights. Allies are not afraid to call out instances of bigotry, homophobia, transphobia, and the like, and even when it comes down to close people in their family. They also listen to the oppressed and their issues, and while they don't always know what to do, they provide their support and are a shoulder to lean on.
Thank you. How about Zaire?
Awesome. So I'm just going to preface that I don't have my answers because I can't find them on my phone because I'm at work, but I can definitely give a great answer. So I would say allyship to me is being self-aware, going out of your way to educate yourself and gain the knowledge that you need to advocate for and to educate others, while also taking action and learning to step up and step back when needed.
I think that's a very important part that I hear in a lot of themes is the step back, step up and step back, and the action of allyship is not just education. So, but Michaela.
Okay, so I feel like the key word in everybody's previous statements was support. I feel like in order to be an ally, you need to be supportive, meaning that you're there when needed. Like you said, it doesn't just stop at education, it's more so education with action. So in order to be an ally, you have to be supportive and be willing to stand up when necessary.
Yes, thank you all so much for that. I was like giving virtual snaps. You probably can't see because my hand disappears because of my background, but if there was a snap, like, little, it's not an emoji, whatever it's called on here, I would be giving it to you all. So our next question, I think we'll just hop and start with Brielle and kind of go in the same order for the next one. But what suggestion or suggestions would you have for someone who doesn't identify within a particular identity group, but wants to be a genuine ally or advocate? So a lot of you talked about not just educating, but action. So like, how would you recommend that, someone do that, like be a genuine ally or advocate, even if they don't identify within a particular identity group?
I really love this question. I think the best way for someone who doesn't identify within a certain group is to speak with someone. Maybe like it's kind of hard sometimes to start the conversation, but if you see that maybe a panel is happening or some place where you can go and just obtain not just like education on it, but maybe people's experiences, I think that is one of the best ways, because you can never really be in that person's shoes, but you can listen and be, sometimes that's all they need is like a listening ear. So be a listening ear for them, because just showing up and listening to people, sometimes that's more than anything, like hearing their voice.
Absolutely. Thank you. Brianne, would you like to take it next?
Yes. Okay. Listen and lend a helping hand to those who are struggling. When an oppressed person confides in you, thank them for their trust and time, because telling people about their struggles can be scary and life-threatening. Donate or advocate for causes that support oppressed persons, and call out what's wrong with society and demand change.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Zaire, how about you?
Awesome. So I'm just going to piggyback off of what Brielle mentioned, at the fact of just having conversation can be hard, but difficult conversations and like having uncomfortable conversations is so important, because you need to apply pressure and you need to have those type of talks that like you have to have in order to educate yourself while also to educate others. And although it can be difficult, it's very, very important in the process in order for things to actually change in the long run.
Absolutely. Something we talked about in our panel with some of the professional staff this morning too was practicing. So whether that's like practicing someone's pronouns or practicing, having a difficult conversation about race with like a friend or someone you're more comfortable with that you can then kind of build off of. Because like anything else in life, it's going to be uncomfortable the first time you do it, and then you'll get more and more comfortable with it the more that you practice. So I love that. Thank you. So I think we have Michaela next.
Okay, so I would say, like, based on my previous answer, action is really important. Like, I feel like what Brielle said and even Zaire, like taking the necessary steps. So talking to somebody or asking the questions or even initiating the conversation is all action steps. Like just thinking about wanting to be an ally, or like, seeing something happening and you want to support, well, how are you going to actually do it is what matters. And even though like the difficult conversations are hard, or even just asking certain questions are really uncomfortable, it's more uncomfortable to be the minority. So it's like, if you recognize the fact that you have a level of privilege, use it, even if it's just a little bit uncomfortable, because realistically, it's more uncomfortable to be on the other side.
Yes, it's a privilege to not be directly affected by some of the things that, happen in society. So the fact that you can step back from it, not everybody gets to do that. So it's super important to recognize that, like, if you're not, for this question specifically, like if you're not a member of a certain identity group who might be, marginalized or minoritized in society, it's super important to kind of step back and realize that, and then use your voice to help. Appreciate that. And Adelaide.
I guess I can agree and go off of what all the panelists said. Basically have those difficult conversations and also take action on those conversations. So make sure you share on social media, no matter if you feel like you're being too tedious, because educating people and making them aware about the issues and making them understand the facts is very essential in order for them to know what's going on in the world. Making sure you take the time out your day to go to different places safely, considering the times we're in, to go and help out different groups and different individuals who might need your help, who need your allyship, and also taking and just like taking a step back and recognizing even your own privilege as well, like everybody else said, because at the end of the day, we all have some sort of privilege. It may not be visible sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's what you know that you have an advantage to other people. So you need to take that into account.
Yes.
Oh, wait, Jordan, before you go, I think Zaire had something quick he wanted to add too.
Oh, okay.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, something quick. So it's definitely very important to keep in mind that it's never up to the oppressors to educate like the people who are oppressing them. So it's like, to be an ally, you have to do more than just be against, for example, against racism. You have to be anti-racism. So you have to like really take action and go out of your way to really seek justice for the group that you want to be an ally for. Just want to add to that.
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of like what we like, I don't know, just discussions I've been having like in my personal life and stuff too, is it's not just the like listening and learning, which was the immediate response to a lot of, you know, the injustices that have happened over the past, you know, I mean, for a very long time, but over the past couple of months particularly. So it has to be coupled with action in order for it to be effective. So yeah, no, I appreciate that you added that.
Can I add something? Something quick.
Absolutely.
I feel like everybody, especially with everything going on in the world, has heard the quote that if you don't pick a side, you automatically pick the side of the oppressor. And I feel like that's exactly what Zaire was saying. Like, it's not enough to just be impartial or just be, you know, a middleman or just, you know, not really have an opinion. Because realistically, you do have an opinion. You probably just a little too scared to say it. So it's just a matter of like, you know, even if you don't outwardly say, like, I'm anti this or I'm anti that, whatever, show it. Because realistically, actions speak louder than words anyway. So it's more helpful if you realize what side you're really on and then go from there. So if you really want to be an ally, you really do need to like pick a side.
No, yeah, I understand. We see a lot of things. It's like it's not the oppressed job to teach the oppressors of their oppression. And you always see the posts or something. They're like people who are actually being oppressed, and then there's the people who are learning and trying to be allies. And they're like, "Give me grace. Oh my God, I'm learning. So, oh my gosh, give me some time." And you're like, "No, get your together and help and call it out." So, yes, great points, everybody. So next question, if you're comfortable, please share a successful example of allyship or an example that you've witnessed as a bystander, or you can do a personal experience. So the order, oh my goodness, it's Brianne first, I think this time.
Hey, okay. So I have a younger sister, right? Before she came out to me, she was a good ally and advocated for LGBTQ rights, as she should, as well as rights for other oppressed groups. She would call out her relatives and still do, and even donated money made from jewelry that she made to people who needed it. For example, she makes jewelry and donates it to like people in Yemen, which I think is really cool. She also listens to what I have to say, and she posts on social media about the things that are important to her, such as like the rights of other oppressed persons, and I think that's really cool.
Thank you. You know, because I'm going to mess up this whole order. I'm just going to go with my gut, and I think it's Zaire's next. If not, good luck.
Okay, awesome. It's fine either way. So in my experience, I knew this one girl. She was my resident last year when I was an RA. And I already liked her because she came to all of my events. And y'all know how hard it is to get residents to come to our events. And she came to every single one. And she was definitely an advocate, just in general. And she always advocated for inclusivity and wanted diversity wherever she was. And she was like a white girl. So like, I was like, oh, okay, like, that's great. Keep it going, keep going. And then specifically, I remember she would always like make sure that I was comfortable in every space that I was in with her. And I would always see on her social media that she would always post about stuff, regardless if it was like the Blackout Tuesday, like just that like Black Square on Instagram. Like she would do more than that. She would really try to educate others on the topic and correct people who didn't know what they were talking about, but in like a respectful way. And she always just made sure to provide like an inclusive space and a safe space for anyone and everyone around her.
Thank you. Yeah. This is Brielle. We're gonna do Brielle.
Okay. I didn't have a super specific event, but I feel like something I try to do as often as I can, or as often as it comes up. If someone goes out of their way to acknowledge their pronouns and what they prefer, to really hone in on that and make sure not only am I like referring to them as the pronouns that they're saying that they want, not the preferred pronouns because it's their real life, but that other people are as well. Because I just think that is so like insensitive. And even though it seems so small, it's such a big thing to so many people. And it is a little way to just be inclusive and to treat that person as they see themselves, because that's the most important thing, that you respect them and treat them as they wish to be seen.
Yes, I saw some big snaps and Zaire, period. Yes, they're not preferred pronouns. They are their pronouns. Thank you. Quote. All right. Who's next? Who did I do? Michaela. Michaela's next.
Okay. My example was actually a Westchester U faculty member, Dr. Michelle Kenzie. She's one of our nursing faculty. She has been inclusive since day one, for me at least. Like, especially in the nursing program, which is such a small program and stuff, I've really felt like she's gone out of her way to include inclusive content into the medical stuff that we learn. So for example, she teaches our maternity section of our clinical rotation. And for our clinical rotation, she advocated to have everybody go to like a home health site, which was a lot of sites in Philadelphia, some the not so nice areas. But the fact that she even had people go out of their way to like, really go out of the hospital setting, go out of your comfort zone and go into somebody's home that you probably would never do anyway, I just felt like was a really big step, especially in our program. Another thing is she also teaches a women's sexuality class, which I'm part of. And in the class, every other week, she has a guest speaker come, somebody that's not herself, obviously, come and speak on a topic she's not the most fluent in. So we had somebody come and speak on, LGBTQ rights in healthcare. We just had somebody this past week talk about domestic violence, but how it affects men and women. Like she really goes out of her way to incorporate things that aren't so talked about in the medical field and make our horizon a little broader. So special shout out to Michelle Kenzie. I love her.
Yeah, it's always important to call out the discrepancy in unknown like spaces, because like the medical field does have so much need for allyship and for advocacy and just for calling it out. So, all right, Adelaide.
Okay, I just want to say I'm in that class as well, and I like that class a lot. But I'm not even a nursing major, but that class is like one of the best classes I've been. But anyway, successful. Okay, so it was a couple months ago. It was when George Floyd's situation kind of elevated and escalated. I have a coworker. She's part white, part Filipino, and we were talking at work. This is a slow day at work. I work at a long-term care pharmacy. So this pharmacy setting is basically about 20 people, technicians, and pharmacists. We don't interact with patients. So we were talking, and we were talking about the situation at hand. And she actually was she felt pretty confused and kind of nervous because she didn't really know how to go about being a good ally and being a good advocate for black rights, because she felt as if she wasn't entitled or she didn't have the knowledge or experience to speak on it. And I just took it upon myself to just say, hey, just make what we do need is for you to be here for us, be supportive, listen to us, take the time to go out your way outside of social media, read the articles, read the stories about all these Black lives, men and women, Black LGBTQ rights along all lines. Educate yourself on these issues and make sure you're vocal about it, not only to me and our coworkers, but be vocal about it to family members, everyone that's close to you, because at the end of the day, it's people that are closest to you that are more reluctant to accept change rather than, people you work with or like random people on the street. I mean, the probability of finding someone who is quote unquote progressive and support Black rights is maybe a little higher now than it used to be in the past, but at the end of the day, there's still a lot more change to be done. So I felt like I got through to her on that, because I believe the following week she came back to me. She was like, oh, Adelaide, I read all this stuff about Black rights, and I read all the stuff about what's happening to you guys, and I'm just going to start posting on Facebook, making sure I donate to all these organizations and GoFundMe's, because I feel like it's important to bring awareness to these issues, because, you know, it's been too long that you guys have been oppressed.
And I think Brianne, did we get to you on this one? Oh, did we? We started with you. Yeah. We started with you. Okay, that's why Jordan was quiet. I was like, Jordan, you go, girl. Okay. So we do have, unless any of our, guests have any questions. So we have one closing one, which I did not send ahead of time or anything. So whoever wants to hop in, we're not going to like require everybody to answer. But what advice or encouragement would you have for fellow students who want to use their privilege or use their voice to make positive change? So yeah, if anybody's interested, just go ahead, unmute, and just share with us a little bit.
Can I go first? Because I clock back in like 5 minutes.
Absolutely. Go for it, Zaire.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to tie it back to my definition of allyship. So being self-aware, number one, being self-aware of the privilege that they hold and the power that comes with it. And to use that power to uplift Black voices and or minority voices and marginalized groups. And then next, I'd say to gain that knowledge by going out and doing research and doing the education that they need to learn about those topics. And I'm not just saying watch Fox News, because we all know that that's not 100% accurate. So they actually have to do the research and do the hard work that we've been doing for years. Next, I'd say is to take action, which is what I stressed before about, which could be either from donating, like what Adelaide was saying, donating to different organizations, or just doing research, or just like really like going out of their way to show that they are anti racism or anti homophobia, et cetera, but like really doing the utmost of what they can do to really fight for us and fight with us. But yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I'll go. My advice, I agree with everything Zaire said, but my advice for people who like wish to become better allies or better advocates is don't get discouraged. Not everybody's going to like the way that you do things. Not everybody's going to understand it. You're probably going to lose a lot of people in the process, but you're going to gain people that are better for you anyway, because they respect you and your decisions. And also in the discouragement, learn from it, learn where you're going wrong, learn how you can be better, but just don't let that discouragement stop you, because it's going to happen. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, and just know that the way that you feel is temporary, and the way that marginalized groups and minorities feel is like their everyday life. So see that your discouragement is just a privilege, because it's something that's going to go away.
Hey. First, I would like to reiterate the point that it's not the oppressed's job to educate the oppressor, right? You can just Google it, literally. Just go on the internet, Google it. Secondly, I would like to just remind people that like your favorite artists, your favorite like songwriters, they're like minorities, and you need to do what you can, like your friends, your family, to protect them, because their lives are in danger. Not to be so extreme about it, but like they could die. And I think people fail to like remember that people get killed because of like their differences, the differences that society doesn't really like. I would also like to say to contribute to minority businesses, give them their cash, because it's really hard to thrive. Exactly. Give them their cash, consume minority-based media, things directed by minorities, things written by minorities, because they're erased from, from the typical textbook, and I think I had one more. Call out your family members. Don't be shy. Call them out. And that's all I have to say.
Girl, that was a great segue into what I was about to say. So, I would challenge students, especially because I feel like a lot of students, even if you are not currently living at home or whatever, I feel like a lot of times when something comes up, whether it's something in the media or something that happened in your classroom and stuff, you take it back to your family. Like, I feel like everybody's had that conversation with their mom, like, Mom, I learned about X, Y, and Z. And then you ask her, and then she's going to give you her opinion. So, like, I feel like I would challenge other students who aren't allies already. Bye. I would challenge other students to bring conversations back to their family and their peers. I feel like one of the biggest things with education is passing along the message. Like it doesn't help if we're the only people with this knowledge and stuff. Take it back. That's how you spread change or whatever. Like ask the questions, but also be willing to like have the conversation. So let's say you're having a conversation with your mom about like LGBTQ, rights and history, and she's like, completely saying stuff that you're not really a fan of. Call her out, like have that open conversation because it's necessary. Like even with the older generation who is set in their ways, can't be changed, but they can. There's a lot of older allies. There are a lot of people that, have lived a certain lifestyle and then, one experience, one conversation, one moment changed everything for them where they completely changed their path. So I really challenge other students to just like take things back to their organizations, take things back to their other peers, their friends, their families, because that's where the change really works. It doesn't help if you're only an ally at Westchester. Be an ally in your hometown. Be an ally at your job. Be an ally, amongst your friends, the friends from high school, whatever. Like the people you don't see every day, because the people on the street or the people you encounter at your job or the people you see in the supermarket, those are the people you're out like really allying with. So yeah.
Okay, I'll go. So one thing about oppression is institutional, it's social, it's historical, it's many things. One thing I feel like we should people who want to be allies and advocate, they should be able to start dismantling those oppressions in those areas, starting from various different things, whether it is calling out your friend for saying microaggressions to their friends, whether it is calling out your boss or calling out a family member who decides to talk down on you about the way you look, whether it's your hair, how your hair is worn, or how you look. It's all these little things, making sure that you are more vocal about it, because we can be vocal, and it's very impactful. But at the end of the day, we need more. We need everybody to be able to help support us. And also when it's time, like everybody said in the beginning, be able to step back and be able to let us shine in our moment to make sure we get these issues heard and don't take that shine away from us, because we've been fighting for these issues for a long time, we as marginalized communities. And it's time that everybody recognizes that, and it's time that we take measures in order to dismantle it.
Thank you so much. So I love that. And I feel like everything that you all just said as kind of like advice for peers and everything really kind of ties into what we talked about with some of our like colleagues earlier. It's not just, I feel like the term ally is kind of being like watered down a little because everyone's saying, I'm an ally, I'm doing it, but it implies action. It's not just something you are, it's something you have to choose to do every day. And like you said, like in your personal communities is the best way to do it, because someone's going to listen to like, their friend or someone they see every day if you're like calling them out versus like, going to a speaker one time and then saying like, okay, like I did my ally thing for the week or for the month or whatever it is. So it has to be, something continual. And I think it was Tess Benser from the Center for Women and Gender Equity that said earlier, like, it's not just being an ally, it's being like a co-conspirator, being a comrade for, for social justice, and really implying that action, like in your daily behaviors and how you choose to interact with people. Yay. So that was our final prepared question for you all. And we so appreciate your time. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. And yeah, hope you have a great rest of your